Welcome to the scary world of dinosaurs. No one really knows what dinosaurs look like. These are just images of what they could look like. All we know is that dinosaurs are scary, most of them. And much like dinosaurs, proofs are scary too. Today our title is 4-3, Using Congruent Triangles. And today everyone's starting with the same beginning of their video. We're going to set up our notes. On our normal notes page, you're going to cut it in half next to your glue-in. And today we're going to be doing a jigsaw. You'll be either recording an A proof, B proof, C proof, or D proof. Note that on the back of your notes page, your typical Tier 1 page, you're going to cut that page in half, and you'll need to listen to your C and D person to write those proofs there. Our Tier 3 will be an activity you'll be doing after you've written all 4 proofs. If you're watching this video, then you are here for Proof C. And the first thing I'd like you to do is copy down the given, the proof, and this diagram, and then copy down this plan. The given information, and it's cut off just a little, it says that angle P is congruent to angle S, and it says that O is the midpoint of PS. And you know what, I'm going to fix this right now. That should be a line up there. There you go. Then they'd like us to prove that O is the midpoint of RQ. Now let's come up with a plan here. On my diagram, it says that angle P is congruent to angle S. So let's label that. Angle P is congruent to angle S. It also says that O is the midpoint of PS, this section, the midpoint. Well, that would mean that PO is congruent to SO, right? Well, that's not enough to prove those two triangles are congruent. I'm looking at these two little triangles. I have an angle and a side. I could do side, or angle, side, angle. I need to prove that RS is congruent to PQ to have side, angle, side, angle, side. I can't think of a way to show that. I could do angle, side, angle, but I need this angle to be congruent to this angle. Wait, they are congruent. Those are vertical angles, aren't they? So angle POQ is congruent to angle ROS by vertical angles. All right, so here's my plan. Let's prove that triangle POQ is congruent to triangle SOR, and we'll do that by angle, side, angle. Make sure that you believe me here. POQ goes from the one angle to the vertical angle. POQ, so I'm going to go from this outside angle to the vertical angle. SOR. Yeah, looks like I said that right. Okay, now from there, I need to somehow get to that O is the midpoint of RQ, this part. Well, O would be the midpoint of RQ if this section was equal to this section, right? So it's almost like I need to say after this that these two sides are equal. So I'm going to go ahead and say that. If I show that RO is congruent to OQ, then I can say that O is the midpoint. So that's my plan. My plan is to prove these triangles are congruent by angle, side, angle, then to say that those sides are equal to show it's the midpoint. But before we move on to the proof, how would we show that RO is congruent to OQ? If these triangles are congruent, then that means, from what we said last class, that all of the 6 corresponding parts are congruent. All 3 corresponding sides and all 3 corresponding angles are congruent. So I'm going to show that RO is congruent to OQ because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. That's going to be my reason. Now I can abbreviate this in our plan, but in the actual proof, I want you to write it. For you guys, I'm going to give you all of the statements, and what I'd like you to do is to fill in the reasons. So you kind of know from our plan where to go. I'd like you to pause the video, fill in all the statements, and then come up with all the reasons, And when you're ready, unpause the video to see how you did. Okay, well, I really hope you got the first one right. Yeah, why is angle S congruent to angle P and why is O the midpoint? Because it was given to us. Now, what would be the reason for PO being congruent to OS? PO and OS. Oh, I know, because I knew that they were a midpoint. O is a midpoint, and I know what the definition of a midpoint is. Now, how about this one? Angle ROS and POQ are congruent. ROS, POQ. Why they're talking about those? Vertical angles again, those two angles that are right there and right there. Vertical angles are congruent. How did we show that triangle ROS was congruent to triangle QOP? Well, I hope you said by angle side angle. Then we showed that RO is congruent to OQ because, and this time you had to write it all out, no abbreviations, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. No CP, CTC here. I want you to write the whole thing. Now, once you say that those two parts are congruent, well then O must be the midpoint. So why is it the midpoint? Because of the definition of the midpoint. If RO is congruent to OQ, then O is the midpoint because of how they define a midpoint. All right, thank you, and go take this back to your group now.